I'm curious, do we have any last-minute shoppers in the bunch? Yeah, a few of you, you don't know this, but a few of you, somebody sitting next to you is going like this right now. Yeah, I see that. So I have bad news. You have 0 shopping days left until Christmas. But I wonder if any of you this year have had the experience of shopping for somebody who is impossible to shop for. Yep. The person who has everything, the person for whom no thing that they need is not already in their possession, no even creative or fashionable thing is not already something that they have. And you rack your brain, and you might even just take the direct approach and say, what do you want for Christmas? And in my experience, I don't know if this is true of you, that person is usually the same person that says, and you go, thanks. You are no help at all. It's frustrating, and it's tiring. And yet we have this tradition that sometimes is really joyful, really a wonderful process of coming up with an idea that really just strikes your heart, and you go, yeah, this is going to be great. I can't wait to see the expression on their face. And other times you go, oh my gosh, there's 0 shopping days left until Christmas, and my only options now are lottery tickets or an Amazon gift card. Those are uninspired gifts. But nevertheless, there's this tradition that we have of giving and receiving, of exchanging gifts at this time. And I wonder if it's ever occurred to you that we give and we exchange gifts in celebration of the birthday of someone who maybe doesn't get the gift. So what would it be like if it was, think about your next birthday that's coming, or the next occasion in which gifts are going to be given, and everybody around you was all exchanging gifts and not you. And you're like, excuse me, wait a minute, hello, it's my birthday. Did you? Okay, never mind. All right, well, have fun, be happy, all right, celebrate my birthday. And Christmas comes, and we celebrate a birthday. We celebrate the breaking in of God into human existence, into human history. And the event at the center of it provides an occasion for you to receive gifts. It's not your birthday, but you still get the gifts. What a great and blessed tradition that we celebrate. That the incarnation of God in the world is a reason that we are reminded that we are to give of ourselves to one another. Resounding with the Spirit of God, with the gift of presence and of blessing and of healing and of teaching and of prophecy and all the things that will come in the story that follows the one that we just heard tonight, that we tell throughout the entire year and remind ourselves of the life of this person who was so much more than an exemplar, but the embodiment of God and humanity. And the ritual that we are to engage in celebration of that is to do as God has done, is to give of ourselves to one another. So I was trying to think about this idea of the person who's impossible to get a gift for. And it occurred to me that if we were to engage in giving gifts to God, that might be pretty tricky. What could God possibly need? If you know someone in your life who has everything, compare that person to God. That might be challenging. Theologians describe the character and the presence and the being of God with 3 omnis: omniscient, omnipresent, and omnipotent, all-knowing, all-present, everywhere, all at once and throughout time and space, and all-powerful. So if those are your character traits, what gift could anybody possibly give you? You need nothing. But when we contemplate what in Christian tradition we say in all of these omnis about God, what becomes even more astonishing is that it seems as though God's presence in the world is not to be recipient, but to be giver, and giver primarily of unconditional love. We say that God has a love for all of humanity, not even just the religious people, but all of humanity. And when you start to reflect on this, when you start to trace out what that might mean, and you start to think about how it would be to inhabit the being of God, and to be all those omnis, and to pour out yourself and limitless love into the lives of all humanity, and you think about what that would be like in your life, really, to an extent, it becomes overwhelming. The idea of following the pattern of God represented by this gift of birth into human form that we celebrate on Christmas becomes astonishing. So let me just give a few examples of situations of God's love coming into the world. So there's love in tender moments. I'm going to start with an easy one. That's kind of a love that most of us can relate to. When you're caught up in something that feels really warm, really beautiful, when there's a moment that just captures you and carries you, and you're with someone else who is dear to you, and you just resonate with that deep love that we say has been given to us as a gift from God. Those are beautiful moments. There's love in ordinary moments. So there's no good reason for it. Nothing special has happened. There's no holiday to celebrate. There's no milestone that's been achieved. It's just an average Tuesday. And you're just going to do all the average Tuesday things that you usually do, and there's no highs and there's no lows, and it's just plain ordinary. And occasionally we need to be reminded that in those moments, expressing our love for someone else can be really, really poignant. It's not a tender moment. It's not a hard moment. But what would it be like on a random Tuesday if somebody did something or told you an expression of how much they loved you, and some people's reaction is, what? Why are you saying that? No reason. Just because I do. And just because you are. And just because my life without you would be so much more diminished. I love you. Oh, okay. Thanks, I guess. As guys, we may have a little bit of a harder time with that kind of concept, like, oh, did I forget our anniversary? What's happening? What? No, nothing. It's just an ordinary Tuesday, and I love you. And those kind of ordinary moments are also a part of the spectrum of God's unconditional love. There's love in triumphant moments. When something exceptional happens, when somebody gets a new job, when there's a graduation from school, when there's an achievement that has been long in the preparation, running the New York City Marathon, something that is to be exalted. Loving those around us in those moments, because part of the gift that we have been given in one another's lives is to celebrate not only the things that we take pride and joy in, but to lift others up in moments for their own pride and joy, and reassure them that our love is in those moments. And I told you I was going to start with the easy one. Now here's where I really want to invite you to imagine what unconditional love from the omniscient, omnipresent, omnipotent God might be like. Love in the devastating moments. Love in the moments where something happens that just pierces your heart. Love in the moments when somebody else does something that just threatens to send you into a rage. Love in the moments where that person does that annoying thing that they always do, and it's the 754th time that they've done it, and you think you're just going to scream. Love in those moments. Imagine what it would be like to be God, who's seen more than 700 and some odd times of those annoying things that we do, and says, I love you. I still love you. I'm going to keep loving you because you're precious. Because who you are is so much more than a particular action at a particular time, at a particular day. Love in the moment when somebody rear ends you. That's not possible, right? That person wasn't paying attention. That person was on their cell phone. That person is a jerk. They deserve to be yelled at. Love in that moment? What are you talking about, preacher? Do you live in the real world? Yes, love in that moment. Not gushy Hallmark love, but the regard for another human being as we would want to be regarded by a stranger in a low moment in our own lives. That kind of love. All of these and more become wrapped up and swirled around in this occasion of Christmas that we have the ritual of celebrating by giving gifts to one another. So, what could we possibly give to God? The God who has everything, who is everything, who knows everything, who is capable of everything. What is it in the world that is needed now? And what is your budget? I'm not primarily talking about the balance in your checking account. I'm talking about what is your spiritual budget? What is your capacity for being able to take in the awe and the majesty of someone who has decided to enter into human being in order to represent all of the diversity and spectrum of love for all of humanity, not just the religious people, but each and every one of us, given this gift of life and beloved of God. What is our spiritual budget to be able to respond to that kind of gift? Some of you doubtless celebrate in your own families a tradition of giving gifts on Christmas Eve. And maybe you did that before you came to this service. Maybe you're looking forward to doing that after this service is over. Some of you are going to hold back until tomorrow morning. Some of you might just do it all the time. You know, there's 12 days of Christmas. You could do it until January the 6th. Just keep giving and giving. But what I want to invite you to think about tonight is what gift you might be able to give in response to God's love in your life. And it's not something that God needs because God is in some kind of deficit of having the really best recommended kitchen can opener. It's not like that. It's something that God enables us to be able to do because of the gift of the incarnation. Because we are richer and we are capable of more joy. We have the possibility of being a vessel of blessing in the world because of God. Just like any gift that is given, in spite of the fact that there's a lot of social and family pressure to keep traditions, and you might get the stink eye if you miss giving somebody a gift, you don't have to. It should not be obligatory or something that is done out of a grudging sense of, I guess I have to. The gift of love in the incarnation was voluntary and limitless. And you have within you a spark, probably more than a spark. You have within you a source of that same generosity, that same capacity for love to be able to share in the world around you. So if you have ever found yourself in this year of 2023 complaining or observing the world around you and lamenting the fact that people are in too much conflict with each other and politics is too broken and strangers when they meet seem to regard each other with indifference, if you felt any of those or other things about how you wish the world was a place that was more filled with peace and harmony among human beings, take it upon yourself to be an instigator of that. Take it upon yourself to give the gift of love to somebody else, maybe in a tender moment, maybe in an ordinary moment, maybe in a triumphant moment, particularly in a devastating moment, so that more of the intention of God's being born into the human family can continue to resonate in and through the human family, which is you and which is me. Amen.